So right now, a new tension has come up again around Nnamdi Kanu's case, and this time it is coming from his legal consultant, Barrister Jude Njoku. He has come out strong against the Supreme Court of Nigeria over what he calls a serious constitutional mistake in how they handled Kanu's case. Njoku didn't hold back his words at all. He said the December 2023 decision by the Supreme Court was, in his own words, a constitutional heresy. Please, if you're following this gist and you want more of these kind of real-time updates, make sure you like this video right now and subscribe, because I'll be breaking down everything that's happening step by step. Now, let's talk about what actually happened. Back in October 2022, the Court of Appeal in Nigeria had already discharged Nnamdi Kanu of all the charges that were brought against him. That was a major judgment that got a lot of people celebrating, especially his supporters across the Southeast region. They believed that once the Court of Appeal, which is a high-level court, has discharged him, that was the end of the matter. But then, a few months later, the Supreme Court came in December 2023 and made a new ruling that sent the case back, meaning they remitted it for continuation or reconsideration. And that is where Njoku said the whole thing became a big constitutional error. He's arguing that the Supreme Court has no power to bring back a case that has already been discharged. According to him, when a person has been discharged and acquitted by a competent court of law, that person should not face the same charges again. And that point is actually inside Section 36, subsection 9 of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution. It clearly says that once a person is tried and discharged, that person shall not again be tried for the same offense. So Njoku is saying that by sending the case back, the Supreme Court has gone against that constitutional rule. And he said that this act, if left unchecked, can shake the foundation of Nigeria's justice system. Please, if you're still watching, take 1 second, like this video and subscribe now, because this part is very important. Njoku went even further to say that what the Supreme Court did in December 2023 is not only wrong, but also dangerous, because it creates a situation where people will begin to lose confidence in the justice system. He said, if a discharge can be revisited or reversed indirectly without any new evidence or legal reason, then it means nobody is really safe under the law. He reminded everyone that the Constitution is the highest authority in Nigeria and that even the Supreme Court itself is bound by it. He said the Constitution is above every person and every institution. So if any court, no matter how high, acts in a way that goes against it, that act is void. Now, many people are looking at this issue from two sides. On one side, you have those who agree with Njoku, saying he is right, that Nnamdi Kanu's rights are being violated and that this remittal was unnecessary. They believe that once the Court of Appeal made its decision in 2022, Kanu should have been released fully and finally. They also think that this back and forth is more political than legal. But on the other side, there are people who believe that the Supreme Court only did what it thought was right to ensure justice is fully served, especially since the case has serious national security implications. Now, one thing that makes this whole matter even more sensitive is that Nnamdi Kanu is not just an ordinary person. He is the leader of IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra. His case touches deep political, ethnic, and social lines in Nigeria. Many of his supporters see him as someone who is standing up for their rights, while others believe his methods have caused division. So every move made in his case is followed closely by millions of people, both inside Nigeria and abroad. Njoku's words are strong. He didn't just call it unconstitutional. He used the phrase void ab initio, which means it was null from the very beginning. He said that once the Court of Appeal discharged Kanu, the Supreme Court no longer had jurisdiction to revisit it unless there was a clear constitutional basis, which he believes there was not. He even said that the 5-member panel of the Supreme Court that handled the case cannot override previous constitutional decisions made by a larger 7-member panel. He called that act a violation of judicial consistency. If you are following so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because we still have a lot to unpack in this gist. Njoku also pointed out that the decision of the Supreme Court has now created confusion about what it means to be discharged in Nigeria. He asked, if someone is discharged by a higher court, should they still be in custody or face trial again? He said this situation has left Kanu's legal team and many Nigerians wondering where the line is drawn between justice and power. For those who don't fully know the background, Nnamdi Kanu was first arrested years ago and faced several charges, including alleged treasonable offenses. He later jumped bail, was rearrested under controversial circumstances, and brought back to Nigeria in a manner his lawyers described as extraordinary rendition. Since then, the case has passed through many legal stages: High Court, Appeal Court, Supreme Court, and each time it creates new legal debates. That's why this statement from Njoku has drawn so much attention now. In his recent comments, he said this case has now gone beyond Kanu himself, that it's now about the integrity of Nigeria's entire judicial system. He said if this kind of decision stands, it means any citizen can one day face the same problem where a final discharge can suddenly be undone. He warned that the Constitution must remain supreme above every other interest, and that any act against it must be rejected by both the courts and the people. While all this is going on, many Nigerians are reacting online. Some are praising Njoku for being bold enough to speak against what he sees as injustice. Others are asking why the Supreme Court made that decision in the first place and whether it's connected to politics or something deeper. And of course, supporters of Nnamdi Kanu are calling for his immediate release again, saying the judgment that discharged him in 2022 should still stand. It's also worth noting that this kind of strong statement from a legal consultant is rare. Lawyers usually speak carefully about the Supreme Court, but Njoku's tone shows that Kanu's camp is deeply frustrated. He's basically saying the court that should be the last hope for justice has instead made a mistake that shakes confidence in the system. That's a heavy claim, but one thing is clear. This matter is far from over. Please, if you're watching right now, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because I will continue to follow this story until we see what happens next. Whether the Supreme Court or the government responds officially, or whether new filings are made to challenge that decision, I'll update you here. Now, what's interesting is that this case also connects to bigger conversations in Nigeria about rule of law, about fairness, and about how courts handle politically sensitive matters. Because if people begin to see that judgments can shift depending on the person involved, it affects trust. And trust is everything in a democracy. Many people want to see a Nigeria where the Constitution truly protects every citizen, no matter who they are. Njoku said something that really caught my attention. He said that the Supreme Court, by remitting this case, is acting as if it is above the Constitution. That's a very bold statement. It basically means he believes the court placed itself higher than the law it's meant to uphold. And that kind of talk can easily cause a national debate among lawyers, scholars, and ordinary citizens. So what do you think about this issue? Do you agree with Njoku that the Supreme Court went too far? Or do you believe the court only did what it thought was right for justice to be done completely? You can drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is the kind of conversation that affects everyone who believes in justice. And again, please like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next update on this case and other important national news.